If your child has been diagnosed with cerebral palsy at birth, you may have a potential lawsuit against the doctors and/or hospital. In some cases, it can be proven that an earlier delivery was necessary, and that earlier delivery would have avoided the child's cerebral palsy altogether. So what factors should you look for to determine whether your child's condition was potentially preventable? Well, one of the first factors that is important is the condition of your child at birth. If your child was born with significant compromise at birth, such as not crying initially, requiring oxygen or other resuscitative measures, and was sent to the neonatal intensive care unit, this could be one factor indicating that your child suffered from a lack of oxygen shortly before birth, and that an earlier delivery could have prevented this. Another factor to look at is what happened immediately after your child was born. In today's medicine, if the physicians are concerned about the potential for brain injury, then something known as a cooling procedure is often utilized in an attempt to reduce or eliminate the degree of brain injury. So if cooling was utilized with your baby shortly after birth, this may be a sign that an earlier delivery could have resulted in a different outcome for your child. The extent of your child's stay in the hospital is also of significance. If your child was kept in the NICU for monitoring for an extended period of time, this is also associated with a higher incidence of brain injury. The presence of neonatal seizures is also potentially indicative of a brain injury which may have occurred shortly prior to the time of birth. Another extremely important piece of the puzzle in potentially determining whether there is a lawsuit are the imaging results. If there is a concern about brain injury, then the physicians will typically arrange initially for something known as a head ultrasound to be performed. This is typically followed by the most important test in determining the nature and extent of the brain injury, a test known as an MRI. The MRI is extremely important, as this will tell you whether there is an abnormality in your child's brain, and if there is an abnormality, the MRI will also tell you quite a bit about whether the damage was caused by a lack of oxygen to the brain in the period shortly before birth. At the Nuremberg Paris law firm, we have a team of attorneys, nurses, and physicians who have a great deal of experience in evaluating whether there is a case against a physician or hospital as a result of brain injury to the child at or near the time of birth. We have handled a number of these cases and obtained very significant settlements and trial victories for families who have children who have suffered brain injury at the time of birth. In Ohio, where we practice primarily, families have until their child's 19th birthday in which to file a lawsuit. So there is still time to investigate a potential case, even if your child is now several years old or even a teenager. Please feel free to contact us for a free consultation.